People are afraid to talk about finances with their friends.
The child support, that's really what it comes down to.
Let me tell you what you don't want to be doing. Fighting and trying to work out this document because you're going to hate each other.
Now, the last thing here is on living expenses post a potential breakup.
Okay, this one I think is juicy. Welcome back to another episode of Just Alex. I'm sitting here with Harrison. You're not going to say hello, hello?
Hello, hello.
Now it's a podcast. Okay, you guys, I'm really excited for today because it's the finance episode. Dun, dun, dun. And why are we doing the finance episode? Well, because we want to normalize the conversation around talking about your finances with your partner. Something that learn from your mistakes. I didn't do my first relationship and I didn't have an understanding of money, and it was just, listen, it ended very badly, okay? And I was somebody who thought we were never gonna get divorced, right? And then never say never, because you don't know the path that life's gonna take you on. So have these conversations up front, normalize having them, and put things into place that protect you no matter what.
And do you think this is a you thing, or do you think this is applicable to other people?
Oh, I think it's applicable to other people, because you might be thinking, and this is the reason we have Just Alex is to be extremely candid on. I was married to somebody with a lot of money. It doesn't matter how much. I'm talking about if you got $1 or if you got $500, understand what happens with that $1 should you split. It's a really important conversation. And Harrison and I are going to talk about our prenup today, which I think people hear the word prenup and they think that's reserved for really rich people. That it is a prenuptial, pre-getting married agreement of what happens, which is just not a bad idea for anybody to do. And traditionally speaking, I think, listen, the way it used to go back in the day was the husband made the money and the wife was along for the ride. But we're not there anymore. But what's happened is times have changed, but the conversations haven't changed. So our goal today is to have this conversation out loud, to normalize it. And something I've found with my friends and girls and a lot of messages I've received is people are afraid to talk about finances with their friends. They're afraid to ask their partner, hey, maybe we've been married 5 years, but we never had that conversation. Can we have it? Can you explain to me what happens if, God forbid, you die? I mean, you never know what's going to happen. Or, hey, where's our money invested? How much money do we have? Understanding those things can be really empowering.
It's really interesting because, like, you talk about it from the girl's perspective, from the guy's perspective. I was like, I have, generally speaking, like, no idea what my friends have done in their relationships. Like, do they have prenups? Do they not have them in place? If they do have them, what do they look like? And so, yeah, I think bigger picture here is let's talk about how we're thinking about things based off what we've researched and learned. Maybe some people will put that to use, and maybe we'll get some feedback from the viewership on other things we should be doing and taking into account, or where things may be misaligned.
And we're about to go through subjects that we're by no means experts in, but the theme of this podcast is figuring it out. We're all just trying to figure it out. So that's why we're going to do this and be so open and honest with you guys, is like, Harrison, you have a pretty good understanding, I think, and you've done some digging on how you want this to play out and done a really good job explaining it to me. But it's really important to say, like, guys, I don't know a ton about it. I want to learn and I want to be set up for success.
Totally. And like, this stuff isn't signed, sealed, and delivered. Like, this is us discussing it as we are in the thick of going through it. And, we talk about some stuff here, and there's a lot of stuff that we don't talk about that maybe just because we don't think is relevant, or just because we haven't gotten there yet, or we just don't know about it.
So we've structured today
the episode.
Yes, into 3 different buckets. Okay, so it's day-to-day finances, prenuptial agreement, or since Harrison and I aren't engaged to wed, it's called a
cohabitation agreement.
Cohabitation, because we're going to cohabitate together, yeah. Which reminds me
of the bears.
It reminds me of animals cohabitating together, which would be us. Yeah. What do you want to be? I want to be giraffes, please.
You've been on a giraffe kick since the child has been en route.
Yeah, because the nursery is going to be pink flowers and giraffes, which I will show you guys.
Yeah.
It's in my head right now. It's not out
I've
loud.
seen the big giraffe that you want to get. I think it's really cool.
Oh, I want it so bad. It's outside of FAO Shorts in LAX if you go there. Okay, so day-to-day finances, prenup, and then child support, should we split? So we're going to go through those buckets and how we're thinking about things, but we gotta talk about how we're coming into the equation, okay? So listen, it's no secret that Harrison is 35, I'm 30. So he's got 5 years on me working, but no?
35, 31.
I'm 30.
Turning 31 in like a month.
But I'm 30. Okay, we are 5 years apart.
We were 4 years apart.
What? All right, so right out of college, hey, you made six figures.
That's some girl math.
You went into banking, right? And you had those like big fancy jobs, and I think started saving, right?
Yeah, right away.
I, on the other hand, also had those great jobs. Not right out of college. I didn't make six figures right out of college, but I definitely like have worked my whole life. Just had a little bit of a messy divorce. So I'm starting from scratch. Now, Harrison has also transitioned out of banking where you made a fabulous salary and had a ton of savings. And now you've got a very big business that does really well. And that's just that. So he's coming into it with the larger pot than I am and more years on me. That's just a fact.
Yeah, but what I wouldn't do is discredit, and this was like a really, a tremendous amount of respect for the business you built on the back end of your personal brand with the brand partners that you do have, that you have been working with, which you work with on a very consistent basis. And like that's a real, business for you outside of Just.
Well, yeah, I'm very lucky that I figured that out and that plan works and it's a great business. I'm starting to build now. And while it's going great, Harrison, you started at 21.
No,
So
totally.
it's just a fact of how we're coming. Like I'm very proud of myself, but it is just how we meet here in the middle is like, we need to disclaim that off the top.
Yeah.
And I'll say this to you. You've been very supportive of me, but you understand the situation and how I'm starting basically from scratch now and how I want to do things really right this round.
I feel like we should probably get into it at this point. But as your guy, Shooter McGavin, says, it's not ready, aim, it's ready, aim, fire. And I feel like we've been talking a lot about what we're going to talk about, but now we should actually start talking about it and fire.
T. Boone Pickens just rolled over in his grave when you called him Shooter McGavin. That's the Adam Sandler movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I knew I wasn't going to get that. And it was great, but like Shooter is going to be close enough.
Maybe T. Boone is excited. Okay, so let's start with day-to-day finances.
Okay.
All right, so we're in Austin right now, and we have found a house that we love.
Well, I think the biggest part of day-to-day finances is real estate and rental or owning and what you're doing with real estate.
Yes, agreed. And so it's very applicable to us ATM at the moment because we're in Austin and we found a house we love and we are making an offer on it. So we're doing this in real time. Whether or not you guys know how that goes. Like, I'm not saying we're buying a house. Saying we did find one we love. We could also end up renting for 6 months. So how restructuring that is Harrison's going to put down the down payment. Then, and I just love you for this whole thing because we did our budget and I just have so much understanding of what's happening. So then he said to me, how do you want to do the mortgage? And he said, do you want to split it 50-50? And I said, yes, I want to have like ownership in the house. And you explained to me that's a really good idea because that's an appreciating asset. So you could be like, I'm going to save money this year, but also instead of paying rent somewhere, since we found a house we love, since the market here is really good for this, I'll do the down payment. Then we'll split the mortgage 50-50 and you'll have an appreciating asset with your money. Loved it, you guys. I loved it. I'm like, okay, sign me up. So he tells me the number we're each going to pay, 50-50. So when we go to sell, Harrison will recoup his down payment that he put down plus inflation. He's very concerned about that part. And then we'll split the profits past that because we'll both have paid the mortgage. Unless in this particular house, it's on a lot of land. So Harrison, for example, wants to put in this pickleball basketball court situation, right? And we want to eventually, maybe we'll add on to it, okay? So anything like that we do, you're more into this basketball court, pickleball court situation than I am.
And any fixed investment in the house.
Yes. And so if he pays for this pickleball out of his money, when we go to sell the house, let's say the pickleball court's $30.
I feel like the pickleball court example is a little less relevant. Let's say we do a housing extension and we add a new bedroom or an extension off of the kitchen. Something that both parties can agree should add value to the home.
Yes, because I'm not so sure this pickleball is adding value.
Yeah, I feel like
that's a play gym for you.
I feel like the playject, which is a great term, isn't the most necessary for this conversation.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. You do want to put the pickleball court in. Are you recouping that at the time of sale? No. Great. So now the key is, ladies, just talk faster than they do. So let's say we do add the extension of like another bedroom and you pay for all of that. At the time of sale, you recoup that plus inflation because it did add value to the house.
Exactly. And vice versa. If you put that in as well, then you get that back.
And maybe we'll find ourselves fighting over that. Be like, I want to pay. No, I want to pay. Maybe we'll do half and half. But we will, in good faith, right, have a conversation about that.
Exactly.
Okay. So that's the house.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did we get that done? That's how we're going to do it. That's how we're going to structure it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to like mansplain and correct the exposure to, the asset class isn't exactly how I said it, but I think the point being you can, do you want to take your dollars and throw it away in rent, or can you make the numbers work where those same dollars are going towards giving you exposure to the Austin real estate market? And I think that's a great part of your of your broader investment and asset exposure strategy.
So then in the day-to-day bucket, we also have meals.
Yeah. Why don't we do babies first? Well, sure, meals.
No, let's keep going. Let's do meals and grocery store and like day-to-day reoccurring things.
Cool.
We can do it kind of fast.
Yeah.
But basically, we're going to have a joint bank account where you put in 10% of your salary and I put in 10% of my salary.
Yeah.
Harrison's salary is larger than mine because I'm not taking year one. So I'm putting 0 in and then he's just kidding. I'm putting 10% in of my brand deals. Harrison is putting in 10% of your salary.
Yeah.
So we'll put that in. We'll pay for like grocery store runs, baby things, all that out of this account.
Exactly.
Okay, great. Now,
I guess what else is in that? So we'd grocery store, anything at the grocery store, all baby stuff. So like food, clothing.
Us going
I'm
out
going
to
to have
dinner.
like the credit card company like lock certain retailers from that card, so you can't just go ham. Baby classes, diapers, all that.
Okay.
All that jazz.
Okay, so meals. We need to define meals because I think that's confusing. Actually, it doesn't come out of the joint bank account. The way we've been doing it is about a 70-30, 80-20 split, heavier on the teeter-totter side on you. So
Yeah,
dinners you get.
And this is something that like there's a lot of looseness to, and we're not like militant with, but
I mean, if we're at we get to that coffee shop, I race. I'm like, because here's the thing about tabs, right? Cards down, we just clock who puts the cards down, not necessarily what the total of the bill was. So at dinner, I'm a little looser with it, but at coffee, at breakfast, I'm like, I got it.
yeah, I feel strongly about like paying for dinners when we go out and making that like a date night and a date experience.
That's nice.
And so, I feel like that generally speaking, I'm taking those bills, and then the breakfast and lunch, there's more flexibility too.
A little loose with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not wound up about the meals. I think eventually we'll get more structure into that. But right now, yeah, you get dinners, I get breakfast and lunches.
Yeah.
We're also eating out a lot right now because we don't have somewhere to live, so it's fluid. But okay, so shared bank account does baby stuff, does groceries, does things like that. Meals right now are coming out of ourselves. And then that's the real estate. Okay, so clothing budget. Mine's a little heavier than Harrison's because I like to shop. And that comes out of your own, right? Which you play with what you make. So luckily, here's a good time for an advertisement because I'm wearing an Alice and Olivia shirt, and you guys know that my favorite brand, right? If you've followed me for even a day, I post Alice and Olivia all day, every day. They dress me for my pregnancy. They dress me for my upcoming trips. We're going to Europe. I've got baby showers, wedding showers. Alice and Olivia they're just like my family too. They're like my brand that's my family. So Just Alex gets you 15% off the website. I've shared on my Instagram already a lot of the things I went in and I picked. This white linen shirt is them. It's perfect for summer. So while clothing budgets do come out of our own personal, I am lucky to have great partners, which helps.
Yeah, and I will buy you no clothes.
You won't. You're not into buying. Some guys I feel like are like, let me buy you that outfit. You're like, you want it, you go get it, girl. That's just like not your area of gifting, which I love because I love to buy my own stuff.
I would much rather gift through experiences than through material things.
Great with me. So we put in
no handbags.
Nope, don't want them from you. I want to get those. I want to see my stuff and like know I bought it. I do love that. So we're very compatible in that regard. But you put in a clothing budget for you, and then I put in one for me. And then I hope we stick to it.
Yep.
Now let's do travel, and then let's do baby.
Okay.
Because we're traveling a lot right now.
Okay.
So flights. I have more points than Harrison does. Flights. Harrison did not fly on a consistent airline, nor did he have logins. He flew all the time and he didn't log in to loyalty members, so he wasn't getting points from his flights. That's changed now. We're American people. But you pay for your own flights, and then when we get there, Harrison pays for the hotels, which is very nice. And that's how we do travel right now. Can I ask you something?
Yeah, let's do it.
Do you think when we get married,
well, I thought we clarified via the internet that we can't be making that statement.
Do you think the further things progress, like we put more into the shared account, or do you think we keep it separate?
I think that with you need spending accountability. And so if that shared account, if it feels like it's being used,
abused,
then in the appropriate manner, then, I think more will go into it. If it feels like it's being abused, then I think that it will probably be reduced over time. And I hate that the way that sounds as it comes out of my mouth, because it's like, I feels like I'm like holding this like power over you. But
no, you're not.
Yeah, I just like, unfortunately, my people get a reputation for being cheap. I don't want that to be the
well,
the
don't talk
that,
around it. What are your
that
people?
That comes out of it, the Jews. The Jews. I just, I want us to be responsible, so that way our daughter's in a really good place throughout her life.
I want us to be slow and steady. I want us to have a thorough understanding of this money, and I want us to be very responsible. You were on the phone with Tom Pitts earlier, who's Harrison's mentor, and he said money should be spent thoughtfully. And I thought, I love that. Like I loved the candidness of your conversation, and that he said money should be spent thoughtfully.
Well, Tom, turns out you're on speakerphone and you heard that conversation.
And I heard it. I thought it was great.
I am sorry.
Okay.
I think I told him he was on speakerphone.
Well, call him back and tell him later.
Okay.
Okay. So the reason I asked is because I think you're going to...
I want Tom to come on the show next time he's in the U.S.
I would love it.
I think I almost like look at this the way you look at like budgeting your business, where, you update it. I guess your business, you update every quarter. You're probably not going to be updating this every quarter. But yeah, I think you ultimately, all of this gets revisited 1 to 2 times a year to make sure that if things are going better than you think, you can change it for better. And if things are going worse than you think, then you change it for worse. Okay.
I like that. All right. So that's travel though. We pay for our own flights. Once we get there, Harrison takes lodging and meal. Like if we shop while we're there, we shop on our own cards. Harrison loves to do experiences. Like when we were in Miami, we both paid for our flights. You paid for hotel, but you took me on an adventure every single day and you paid for those. I think that's a really good example of a trip.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's do baby now.
Okay.
Let's do the little thing that keeps kicking.
Yeah. This is short and sweet because like a lot of the day-to-day baby is covered in the shared card, but beyond that.
Do you know what size vegetable she is?
Of course not.
It's ridiculous. She's the length of a carrot, which is absurd because she was something really big last week. I can't remember.
Eggplant?
Yeah, I think so. And like you would think an eggplant is bigger than a carrot. Anyways, I've been reading to her at night and I love it. Okay, so the baby is very simple because most of it's on the shared card. However, the nanny Harrison's paying for, babysitters I'm paying for.
Done.
It's short and sweet like the little baby is. Okay, so now, dun dun dun.
We roll into the spousal prenup / cohabitation agreement.
Cohabitation agreement.
Cohabitation agreement.
Cohabitation agreement?
Co.
He winks. Ooh. You were kind of a hoe.
No comment.
Okay. All right. So feed me here.
Okay. So this is broken down into 4 buckets.
Okay.
Inheritance, investments, business, and living expenses in the case of us not being together.
Great. Okay. So the first bucket is
Inheritance.
All right. So should anybody's parents or grandparents or aunts or uncles leave them something, that remains theirs.
Exactly.
Separate. If your aunt leaves you something, that stays you. If my aunt leaves me something, that stays mine. Parents, grandparents, stays yours.
Exactly. And where that is especially important is in the case that there's inheritance on one person's, like if there's inheritance on my side when we're together, and then there's no inheritance on your side when we're together because all of those people are still alive, then and we'd split and it wasn't structured the right way, then you would take 50% of that and I wouldn't get 50% of your end. And so the way to keep it cleanest and easiest is all family assets are roped off.
I think it's great. I think it's fair. Fair is fair.
Now, investments.
Okay. Help me here because it's guys, we wrote this all down earlier and my pregnancy brain is trying to remember it and we renegotiated a bunch of things. So what he reads is our final decision. Can you help me?
So any investments we've made before we got together are ours.
And I joke, mine are Graham's. I have to. I'm sorry.
Any investments we make after we get together, whoever puts up the principal gets the principal back, and then the upside is split 50-50.
Yes.
Unless it's through inheritance.
Okay, I'm going to give them an analogy. If Harrison and I want to invest $10 into a coffee company, right? And I invest it through inheritance that my grandpa left me. When the coffee company sells for $50, I get my money back because it was through inheritance. And it stays clean.
You get all the money back.
I get all the money back. Now, if we want to put $10 into a coffee company, explain this part to me actually, and we want to do it together through the joint account or something.
Well, if we put $10 into the coffee company, and I put the $10 in and we sell it for $50, I get the 10 back, and then the 40 is split. You get 20, I get 20.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, great.
If we of the 10 you put in 5, I put in 5, then we split.
I get my 5, you get your 5, and we still split.
Exactly.
Love it. Very clean, very fair.
Yeah.
And all of this, I have to say, as you're talking, I find just very empowering of like, we both put in the 50-50 of it. I think that's exciting stuff that we can do. I think you and I, as a couple, would find those things, like I think investing in things like that is something that we're just really interested in.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's very fun.
Shout out Giada. That's my favorite investment right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Not shout out to Independence Drilling Company out of Houston, Texas. You're killing me.
Anyone who lives in LA, go get a Giada sandwich, please.
Really do. They're
Code,
great.
no code. Pay full price. Add a tip.
Give it. What's the next one?
Business, because we both have our own businesses.
Okay. Yep. Take it away.
Once again, those are both totally roped off. You own Just, and I own my ownership in Naked Market. Plain and simple.
And there's a line underneath that?
Okay. Harrison reads, but I think Just is going to be worth a lot of money one day, and Alex is going to prove all of her haters wrong.
Shut the front door. We're going to have to cut
Go
that.
Just Media.
No, that's not what the line says, you dick. What's it say? It says like there's another line on there. What does the line say?
But watching how things are going.
Oh, yeah. That's not that interesting. Okay.
Now, the last thing here is on living expenses post a potential breakup.
Okay, this one I think is juicy.
So initially the mindset was like, we'll just do it. What's hers is hers and what's mine is mine. And there's no dependence on living. But one thing we learned as we were going through this process is the concept of, sorry, I need to find it because it isn't in here.
And that's why it's important to call people and talk to them about what's fair and how they did things. Because this one actually makes a lot of sense when you hear it.
So what we learned of was propensatory spousal support. And essentially what that means is in the case one of us needs to stop working to take care of the child, that the other one then does provide that support and that financial support.
This is when we're broken up.
Yeah. So, the case is we break up. Something happens where one of us needs to not work, assuming we both agree that is in the best interest of the child, then, person X will cover person Y's livelihood up until a certain amount.
Yes.
So really a child first, part of the agreement. Yeah.
Yeah. And then now let's go into how it's the
child support prenup.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the last part here. So I think the general theme on child support and like all of this, and we forgot to say it at the top about how, people will be like, well, you're talking about this and, you're just making yourself destined for success. Sorry, you're talking about this, so you're making yourself destined for failure. And I think the way that I view this is very similar to a life insurance policy where, I sure as hell hope that she'll never need to use my life insurance policy or I'll never need to use her life insurance policy. But in the case, something does happen, it is there. And that's really what this is all about. So on the child support, the general theme, and this is taken from BC law, is
British Columbia law?
Yeah. Is the child needs to live the same standard of life in both homes. And, I think that what you'll see is, different states and different countries have, a lot of what we've talked about here today can differ at the state level and differs at the country level. And so what we've come up with isn't necessarily abiding to what state law is, but abiding to what we think makes sense given our circumstance.
Right.
And like as such, if either of us wanted to like zig on it, you could take any of this and probably come it over the top and take it to the state courts. So, but point being, having this conversation when we both have clear heads, best positions us in the case things go bad. So the child support, that's really what it comes down to, is a two-way commitment, around the child keeping the same level of living between housing, clothes, and education.
Exactly. And we've agreed upon that. And then I thought there was one more thing on there. No?
No, that is really it.
So the kid lives the same lifestyle in both houses because it's not fair. I think
kid can't be going from your mansion to my box.
Can't be doing it. And here's the thing. I remember growing up, there are some split up families where like one parent would try to buy the other one, and that's not fair to the other parent that can't do that. So I really think an equal playing field there is very fair. I think this whole thing is fair. I love what you said about doing it when you have clear heads. Like prepare for the bad when it's good. Because, well, let me tell you what you don't want to be doing. Fighting and trying to work out this document because you're going to hate each other. So do it while times are good.
Totally.
So now, you guys, like we said at the beginning, we haven't taken this to the lawyers yet, but what we wanted to do, Harrison said this at the beginning, like, I don't want to have like a traditional prenup drawn up and then hand it to you and you not understand it. There's a world where you and I discuss it offline and then we take it to them and we say, these are the things that are really important to us.
Discuss it offline, then take it online, get the views, get roasted, just keep the momentum rolling.
Get the feedback from people, we do the whole song and dance, but then we take it and we say, hey, to the lawyers, these are things that are really important to us. These are things we've agreed upon. Can you draw these up? Let us know what we missed. You do the process.
Totally.
But I loved doing this with you. And the other thing we did was just our yearly budget, like year one with a kid. How much are we both going to need? And just having that simple understanding is life-changing for me.
That document that we did, maybe what we'll do is if you end up releasing your newsletter, we can share the framework for that document with people. And that way all they need to do is like enter how many times a week they plan on, eating out and how many times a week they plan on doing X, Y, and Z. And because it's just like a really way to visualize what you think you'll spend and what that looks like from a post-taxes salary that you need.
Yeah, you guys, what we did was we sat down and Harrison showed me a spreadsheet. Now he was thinking through it. And he said, hey, what's your clothing? What do you think you're going to spend on clothes a month? How many times do you think you're going to eat out? Harrison's going to eat lunch out. He goes to working meetings out for lunch all the time, like 5 days a week. And I don't. I eat at home or I pack my lunch. So I said, hey, maybe 2 times a week. Harrison said 5. How much do you think you're going to spend? He's going to eat at Sweetgreen. It's going to be $20. I said, mine might be 25 if I go out to eat. So if you do share that framework, it's really helpful for people to get in there and plug and play that. Yeah, that would be like, if I wasn't with you, that would be something that would be so valuable for me. So let's do that.
Cool.
Okay, cool, guys. So like I said at the beginning, the purpose of Just Alex is open and honest conversations with you all. And this is probably the largest example yet of that. And we're just trying to figure it out along the way. While him and I did sit down and talk about this to prep for this episode, I'm sure there's things we've missed. I would love, like I said, the 10% thing. I learned that from a DM. Harrison, I think, learned it in the womb, but I didn't. So we're always open to feedback. Please send us that because you know what? We never want to be the ones that know it all. We always want to be the ones that want to learn. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, this is our finance episode. I hope you learned from it. I hope we I hope we, how do you say, normalized having the conversation around finance?
Yeah, I think you just said it. Like I hope that people aren't afraid to have the tough conversation around, the life that they want to live and the feasibility of that life, and talking about how much you want to eat out a week and if you can afford that in the budget. Like there's definitely takes a lot of vulnerability in that, but I think over the long run, hopefully it puts you in a better place.
Okay, cool. Well, we love you guys, and thanks for doing this episode with us. Gosh darn it, subscribe to the podcast. Oh man, that's my baby present from you to me. So subscribe, and we love you guys. See you next Thursday. Okay, guys, thanks for listening to another episode of Just Alex, powered by Just Media House. If you enjoyed the show, which I think you did because you made it this far, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, rate, and review. All of those things are so important. Stay connected on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook at Just Alex Pod. Post-production by Creative Evolution Studios. Theme song to the Just Alex Pod by Gideon Shawkin and Denisha. I'm Just Alex, you're just you. Let's keep doing this thing. New episodes every Thursday.